All right. Well, all right. So we kind of hit on it, and I'm gonna say this, but I'm just gonna let's just like Kyler Murray and Tua, right? What happens to those two guys? What goes on there? That's definitely something that I'm really intrigued by. But we just talked about quarterbacks and Malik Willis, and we can dive into that some other time. I think a better one. How about the running back market? The running back market is something that I think is like pretty fascinating. One, I think we're in a transition in the NFL where, we're seeing teams are getting back to the running of the football. The two teams in the Super Bowl, they were run-first football teams, right? We've seen the 49ers in the Super Bowl. They were kind of a run-first football team. The Eagles, they were a run-first football team. So that's there again. We know that. And how are these guys going to be valued? One, you got guys like Breece Hall, and I think Kenneth Walker, who I would think about franchising. I would, just because you don't, guys that score touchdowns from 80 yards away don't grow on trees, right? So I would think about it. But on top of the bigger subject of the running back market, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, they should not play a down of football until they are paid. And they're the type of guys where you go, we always go like, hey, this guy's the top and nobody should pass him. Well, these are guys that you can go, I could justify them being more than Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey, right? And just what would that number be? What will it be? Bijan Robinson's arguably the best offensive player in football. He's up in that conversation. Jahmyr Gibbs is arguably the most explosive player in all of football. He's up in that conversation. What kind of money do they demand? That, along with some of the free agents out there, to me is also another one that I got my eye on here.
Man, it feels like we're finally going to get into the legit 20s per year with these guys. Yeah, number one, the cap just balloons every single year. That totally changes the market, even for the lesser valued positions like safety and running back. You have Saquon and McCaffrey at the top. I would say the term on those deals might not be crazy. Like, I don't think those guys get 3 to 4 years of guaranteed money.
Exactly right.
But they'll get a lot of money in the short term. That's for dang sure.
Definitely.
I think you're looking at the 20s. And like you said, I agree with your Kenneth Walker take. I think the Jets are going to transition tag Breece Hall. That's about $11.2 to $3 million, which you go 1 year deal, 11.2 for a starting running back. Sure, if you're Seattle, the money you just said, and one of the biggest fabric pieces of your team there, I would do whatever I needed to keep Kenneth Walker for another year.
I think so, too. And then you have Zach Charbonnet, who's injured, and he's not going to be the same for the first half of the year. Your game and your offense is orchestrated around the run game, right? And, again, that's where, some of these running backs are worth the value to me. Again, when you're a guy that can score from anywhere, anytime, any place, to me, that changes the game a little bit. And we're talking about two guys there that I think are capable of doing that. And like you said, it's 1 year. It's 1 year, and then you can figure it out. But I think the reward of keeping them for 1 year for maybe paying them a little more than you want to, rather than the risk and just go, well, I hope we get that guy in the draft. I hope we find him, because that's just been the thing. We find him in the draft. And it's like, yeah, okay, we'll see. I can definitely point out some teams who've been saying that, and they didn't find Jack Diddley shit in the draft, just so you know, right? So we'll see where that goes. But, yeah, I would think about it with the Kenneth Walker. The transition tag's interesting, right? Just with Breece Hall at 11-2, what I'd be worried about with the Jets is somebody swooping in and making them a better deal, and then they get nothing in the compensatory picks off of that because of the transition tag.
You have to match it.
Right.
Yeah.
Where you got to match it. Right. So there's a part of me there that wants to go, why not just franchise him and take that away altogether? What, just to save $3 million for a guy that's like arguably the most explosive player on your offense?
It's a really good point. And here's a little secret that not a lot of people have said yet, and I think they'll notice. This is not a great running back draft. Don't be fooled because it has a great player at the top in Jeremiah Love. And I really like Jadarian Price and Jonah Coleman on day 2, but it's not 7 guys are going to go on day 2 and 5 of them are going to start. It's not that kind of running back draft. So if teams are catching up to that, I'd rather dive into the pro market and grab one of these guys by a mile and kick that can down the road in the draft, or take a day 3 dart and see what happens. But you're right. I think a very, very like popular miscalculation of the public is you find running backs everywhere. When you go through the top running backs in the league, that's not true. Where was Jahmyr Gibbs drafted? Where was Bijan Robinson drafted?
Christian McCaffrey, right?
Saquon Barkley,
right?
Like it's not, even if you get into the guys that turned into gems from day 2. Okay, a day 2 pick is still
Derrick Henry in the second, right? Okay,
right. This thought though that 5th round running backs turn into diamonds all the time it doesn't live in reality.
No, it doesn't. We cherry pick and use the one guy or the two guys, and we go, see, you can find them then. You can do it then. And it's like, okay, that's your one, out of 20 there that have found that type of guy there. So, yeah, these are special players. And, I was going to make this a thing anyways, but let's just add it on to it. The draft, the running back, all of that. I know I've heard you say this. Jeremiah Love's one of the top players in the draft, but he's at a position that's devalued by the NFL. I wouldn't change. I wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter to me.
Right.
If you want to change around your football team, arguably the quickest way to do it in the sport is get a game-changing running back. Now, I know there's going to be some outliers out there. People are going to go, well, the Giants drafted Saquon Barkley. Okay, yeah, they did a horrible job of ever getting an offensive line and being able him to even show you what he's got, right? But there's a lot of other ones out there that have worked out, quite frankly, and worked out with great success. You named a bunch of them. So that's where I look at Jeremiah Love. I'm almost sitting there right now going, I hope the Giants take Jeremiah Love at number 5. I am. But that team with Malik and Wandell and Jackson Dart and him at running back, like good luck. Have fun with that. That'll be real. And here's another one I'm going to throw on you here because I've watched some of the top players, but you brought up the name. I'm gonna say there's a chance Jadarian Price goes at the end of the first round. Right?
I think you're on it. Yep.
When I watched Jadarian Price, and I didn't sit there and study everything, but I certainly came away watching Jadarian Price last week when I was sitting in Miami a little bit, and I have no problem saying this. I'm going to say this out loud. He is definitely better than Omarion Hampton. That's not a question. And Omarion Hampton went, pick 23 to the Chargers? And if you just tell me off of college tape who's better, it's Jadarian Price. So I wouldn't be shocked if he ended up being drafted at the end of the first round, again, because of what we're talking about. And he's a guy that can score anytime, anywhere. And he can play all 3 downs and catch and pass protect and do all that too. Would not be shocked in a draft that it sounds like there's not a ton of elite talent in this draft.
I don't think you're nuts at all. He's averaged 6 yards per carry each of the last 2 seasons, and he has everything. Whether it's number one, I thought he was one of the best zone runners I watched in college all year because the breakaway speed was real.
Yeah.
He's great after contact because he's big and strong.
Right.
He's got big shoulders and big arms. You brought it up. The thing teams have to project, they have to project 2 things. One, what will he do when he's actually thrown the ball? Because Notre Dame didn't throw him the ball. But what makes you feel good about it is he's a high effort, low center of gravity pass protector.
Definitely.
So you can put him on the field to at least try. And the second thing is get the fumble rate down when he has more touches. The last thing too, Chris, with the new kickoff return rules, I think he could be the best kick returner in the NFL.
Agreed.
Best in the NFL.
Right.
He was that good at it in college.
Hey, he went through a stretch during the college football season that you and I laughed about in the viewing room where he touched the ball like 14 times and scored 9 touchdowns on those 14. And it wasn't like it was the 1 yard line. It was like 40 yards out, 60 yards out, 20 yards out. Kick return for 90. It was like, whoa, the last 13 or 14 times he's touched it, 9 of them or 10 of them were touchdowns. So, again, there's great value in that. And, it's interesting conversation right now with the running back, the NFL, the market, who's available in free agency, and some of these guys and what the money is they're going to make. Yo, thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.